Okay, so good morning, everyone. In the last class, let me just share my screen. So in the last class, we looked at a couple of things. You guys can see my screen, right? You can see my screen, right?
Your
Okay.
screen is blank.
Okay, I think it should be up now. Yeah.
It's up. It's up here.
o- All right. So in the last class, we talked about JSX rules, where we said that you have to return an element. So this element can be a div, a section, a fragment, but you have to return something inside here. So here we use the fragment and yeah, we're able to display our books. So that was that. We also went ahead and said that here we use class name instead of classes. So it's not like when you're using your HTML and CSS, you use you use class name here instead of class. And then you have to close every element that you create here, because at some point, even your component is an element. You also need to close that. And then even when we have like sub these things, like, yeah, you have an image, you need to close it. We also talked about, yeah, it's possible to have a div, a single div, though I didn't show that in the last class. So you can style a single div however you want. So we talked about components, how you create components, um, yeah, and reuse those components. We also talked about how you pass props, of passing props. Yeah, so you get the props here. You can either get the props here, or you can get it within within the function, either by using const and then you destructure and equate it to props itself, or whatever you're passing inside. So it can be props dot any name. So depending on how you're passing it. Then we also looked at prop types. So prop types kind of does this type check thing so that you know what you're expecting inside here. So even though as you hover on it, it's more like this is not even like serving the purpose that it's supposed to be. It's just pure righteousness anyway. Because when I hover, well, probably because I'm not using TypeScript. You're using TypeScript. At some point, when you hover here, you see this has a type of any. So it's expecting anything. It's expecting any kind of data type, even description, any, all of this, they are any. And it's because, well, JavaScript is JavaScript. So loose. So it's not type specific. It doesn't check all those things. So here it works, but if you're using TypeScript, you have to specify all those types like that. But this just enforces that, yeah, you just, so that you don't have squiggly lines and all of that. So if I comment this out, you now see that, yeah, you have these squiggly lines and so on. So this is just, well, do its own sort of type check within this place so that you just know that, you've specified the type, even though it doesn't like show up here. Okay, so that was for that was for the last class. Now today we will be talking about React hooks. Now, what are React hooks? What are React? Now let me run my app anyway. Okay, and there. Okay, so quickly that comes up. Yeah, and I have my book. I have my book. So I'm actually I'm going to start small. I'm going to start small. I'm going to do a little bit of house cleaning here. So let me see. So I'm just creating a div inside here. I'm creating a H1. Right. So let me see if that comes up. So I have this here. I have this showing up here. Now, the beauty of fragments, the beauty of using fragments is just that, yeah, you can put your code scattered. Yeah, you can just have something like this, and then you can still have this other part of your code. But if you're using a div or a section, you have to wrap. So if you're returning a div, so you have to put a div here that will cover both sides. But if you're using fragments, you can split your code this way and it will still work. But if you're using div, you have to wrap everything inside that div so that you can. Yeah, sorry, sincere apology dropping off. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
All
I
right,
can
all
hear you.
right. Thank you so much. Yeah. So let me share my screen and go on. Okay, so I was saying that yeah, if I'm using a div, normally if you're using JSX, I'm sorry, if you're using fragments rather, now fragments allow you can split your code anyhow you like, and it will still give you the output so far as it's within that fragment. But if you're returning a div, you can't return multiples, you can't return a div and then there's another div. So React expects you or JSX expects you that if you're returning something, you should return just a single element, which is like this div is just a single element. So anything that you're doing has to be within this div. So if you're not doing it that way, you can just use your fragments. Fragments, so far as it's within here, you can put multiple and multiple stuff. So I can put a H3 here and it will not complain. It still works as it should work. So I think I've noticed something. Let me just remove autosave because I don't want my code to just be updating on its own accord. Okay. So yeah, so that is that. So I just wanted to touch why you can why you can put multiple divs, even though they are not, you don't have like a single div wrapping everything. If you're using a section, your section has to wrap everything here. If you're using fragments, you can put code split, however you want. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. So there are different. So what is a React hook? A React hook is basically a function provided by React, okay, that allows you to do specific tasks. So it's a function provided by React that allows you to do a specific task. So let's say, for instance, now when you have a button and you want to click on that button and then something happens. So let's say, for instance, let me go to yeah, so I have this hello everyone. And I want it such that, let me just create a button real quick. Um, so button change name. I'll just do on click. Okay. Okay, I'll come back to this anyway. Let me just remove this now. So I want, and this my styling is just going to be off. So let me just give it a class. Let me just call it BTN. More CSS. CSS is something else. So let me just call it BTN. So inside the BTN, let's say we have, okay, padding, top and bottom, 10 pixels, no, 5 pixels, left and right, 25 pixels. Okay. Let's say background, though not necessary. I don't know why I'm doing this. Let me just do it for the sake of liking fine things. Okay, I'll just do a color of white and let me just do around the border radius. I'm using what do they call it? Tailwind. I want to do rounded MD. So border radius of, let's do 10 pixels. Okay, so let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. Jesus Christ. Okay. Um, Let me do border 1 pixel solid and still use blue. Okay. All right. And I'll just add a cursor pointer just for 6. All right. So I think we are pretty fine. So I want to use, so let's say for instance, I want to be able to click on this button and change something here. I want to use this button and maybe fetch data. Now, normally in what do they call it? Yeah, in normal JavaScript, you now have to create a function, do this, do that. then do document.get element, and then you now start playing directly with the DOM and all those things. So React in its benevolence thought it wise that let's create functions that allow people to do things easily. So we have different types of functions. So let's say you want to update the state. Now there's what we call use states. Well, we are going to look at that. We also have, let's say for instance, when you load your page, you want to fetch, let's say, well, the fetch country that we did, you want to fetch data on initial render, you can use effects. So these are built-in functions from React that help you to easily do this task that you want to do. Say for instance, you want to have like your information on a global level, we have use context. So these are these are functions that React just brings for us to help us to play around and do our do our different tasks. So um we're going to start with the first one. So let me just go back to my app.jsx, and I'm not playing around with components. So we're going to start with use states. So that's the first React hook that we are looking at. Did I import that? Okay. So like you see now, I just typed use state and automatically React kind of pulled it in for me here. So it's actually you're importing it from React. Now we're going to use this. We're going to try and understand what use state is. So what is use state? Now, use state is a special function which helps you to manage and keep track of data within your code, within your components. So, so it allows you to remember, okay, so this is the state. This was what this particular state, this is what, let's say a title now. So for instance, we had a title. Initially, the title was maybe hello everyone, but then we want to change this title to something else. We can use to change to change this title to something else. Say for instance now, let's say you're fetching like five items, and then you want to increase the count to like maybe fetch 10 items. You can use a use state to change that. So it's changing the state from, let's say, five items. You're changing the state to 10 items. So this is just a change in state. It's just a change in state. So we are going to look at each of them. We're going to look at use states. How do we use states? How does that work? Right. Here now, Yeah, sorry about that. Network and showing me Shege 5 and 6. Okay, so if I use state here, even from inside here, this already, can you guys hear me? Just put in the chat. If you can raise your hand if you're hearing me. Yeah, can you guys hear me? Yeah, can you guys hear me? No? Okay. Yes, sincere apologies about that. Okay. Okay. So, okay, you can still see my screen. Right. So, even as I called use state. Okay. Yeah. So that's good. So even as I called use state here, so I'm calling use state, like I told you, is a function. You know how we call functions now, the name of the function and then this guy. So I called it here and I saved my work. If I go to my browser now, okay, okay, so let me reload this. All right, so interestingly, so invalid hook call hooks can only be called inside the body of a function. Can you guys see my screen? So So this could happen for one of the following reasons. So you might be having mismatched versions of React. You might be breaking the rules of hooks. You might have more than one copy of React in the same app, and so on and so forth. So what am I trying to point out here? I'm trying to point out that your your hook, so if you're calling a hook, use states, you have to import it from React. And then you have to use whatever it is inside here, inside the function. So it has to be inside the function for it not to break. I don't know why this is not reloading on its own. So if you check now, if you check, so I'm console logging use states. Remember I said it is a function. So that's why I have this thing I'm calling here. So I'm calling the function, you initialize and then you call the function. So I'm calling the function here and I'm console logging it. Now this is what it's giving us. It's giving us two distance inside here. And what are these? So it's giving us undefined and it's giving us undefined and it is giving us F here. Now what this F stands for is, so 0 is undefined. This F is a function. This F is a function. Now, let me explain what is going on here. I hope you guys can still hear me, right? Yes. Okay. Sorry, that's yeah, internet is acting funny, but it is what it is. Okay. So when I console log use state, it gives me two things. It gives me one of them, the undefined, the other one, the function. Now, if I want to, let's say I want to get each of them, so I will just say individually, so const value is equals to use states. Yeah. And then you know the way you work with an array now. So you're getting like the first item in the array, and then I'll just say cons handler. So because the second one, the function, kind of handles the first one. So I'll just say use state, and I'm getting, sorry, not inside there. Yeah, please you can mute yourself so that I don't get that. So I'm trying to console log CLG value, and I am also console logging handler. I can spell. Okay, so let's see what this gives us. Wow, interesting. So we get two things. We get undefined, and then we get this function. So the function, this function, like I said, this function works on this guy, works on this undefined. So this function affects this other guy. Okay. Okay. Okay, so sorry. I don't know why network is dealing with me today. Can you guys see my screen? Is my audio better? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay.
I lost you sometimes, so I don't know how you get to this page you're showing now. What you write in your React book.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So I don't know if Austin is on the call. Austin, are you on the call? Yeah, so I wanted you to make me a host. I don't know why my network is. Yeah, just check the settings there and you see. Okay, yeah, thank you. All right. Um, I don't know why network is this way. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so I was talking about, let me just go back. Let me go over the code anyway. So I said when you import use state first. You import use state from React because you want to use use state. We are trying to update a state. So a state is like, yeah, you have a variable and then you want to change it into something else. Let's say you have maybe an array. You want to either push, you want to remove or something. So you could use state and all of that. So we want to use use state. And we're trying to understand use state here. So the first thing I did was I console logged use state. And then we saw that use state gives us an array with two elements inside it. So the first one is undefined. The second one is a function. This f that you're seeing here is a function. Now, you could ask, why is this in I console logged in one place, but why is it showing up two places? Now, the reason is that when you go to your main.jsx, you have this strict mode here. If I remove this guy and yeah, and I bring this, so you see that we have just one. It's just, it's just showing up just once. But the reason for the strict mode is so that you could, yeah, you can just, you get to see whatever it is. Maybe it shows like two times just for kind of confirmation sake. It's not like it's any distance. Now, so what I was trying to explain is that when I console log this, it gave me an array of two items. Now, you know, arrays are zero index. So I'm trying to get, the first one was undefined. So that is the value of that particular state. What is the default value of that particular state? So the default value is usually stored inside this value, first of all. Now, the handler, like I was saying, is what updates the value. So the handler is a function that changes the state of the value. So I am console logging both of them. So I called the use state here, and I'm getting the zeroth item. I'm also doing the same for this other one, and I'm getting the first, Abby, the want item, if there's anything like that. So inside here now, if you check, you see we have undefined, and then we have a function. But when I get each of them, so this is the value, and then this this is the function. Now, when you want to use this in React, you don't use it this way. Now remember we have what we call, well, we have this structuring. So in essence, what you would do if you want to use it is const. So you do const and then use square brackets. Now you need to call, let's say text. So text is this value. So it's the first item, text. Now the next item is going to be the handler. So there's a common convention for calling the handler. So you have to use set. So set first. You're using camel case here. So set and then the text. So this text, this thing that you have here, you now put, you now use a capital letter. So set text, and then you now have to equate it to your use state. You use it to your use state, and then you now have to pass in a value inside here. So if I do this and I console log use, so if I console log, let me just PLG and I console log text and set text. Let's see what happens if that will be different. Okay, so there wasn't really a difference, probably because, okay. So probably because, yeah, it's within this thing. But let's say for instance, now I want to put this inside here. So I am picking this state. This is the variable I'm going to be using inside here. And I'm just going to call text. So this guy walks inside here. So if I check now, hello, 2. So I am passing this state. I am passing this state. So the default value is what? 2. So this 2 that I put here is put inside, like this text, the value of this text is whatever you put within the use state. If I change this to a string now, and I check here, yes, that is so you see, so the default value is what you put here. Now, most often than not, depends on whatever app you're building. Most often than not, let's say um, you have an input, and then you want to be able to use that input. You want to yeah. Okay, so please bear with me and network today. So most often than not, this is usually initialized to an empty string. So that's if you're using if if you're using an input, or depending on whatever, if you don't want an initial value, you just set it to an empty string. But then let's say we wanted hello everyone. So if I put everyone there, automatically you see everyone here. I believe you guys can still see my screen. Okay. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yes, sir. I can see your screen.
All right. Yeah, so in essence, let's try and update. So we've seen how we're able to pass it like a default state and use it inside our work. But then what if I want to be able to use this button to whatever, change whatever is showing as the initial state. So that is where we now have to put this we are going to call our um we're going to call our onClick function on the button, and then use that button to trigger a change in that. So let's do
Do
this
you
together.
consider do you consider the hello everyone? The everyone.
Okay.
Sometimes consider because it's above the
Okay, it's above. You mean this use state here?
let's leave up for everyone.
Okay, let me I bring it down. Well, it will still give you undefined. You give you undefined here. Okay, so I actually tried this. Okay, so
Oh,
I'm able to get this.
okay.
Yeah. What happens? Let me just, why didn't it work initially? Okay. So let me do set text, set, okay, it should be what a function, right? Oops. Okay. So I'm able to console log this value. This other guy is a bit tricky. So let's bring it back. Let me clear this. All right, so but yeah, you get the gist. This text picks up this guy from here. You're able to console log it and see the initial value. So now we want to create an on-click handler. Okay. So we want to create an on-click handler. Now that handler, so I'm just going to do on-click here on my, okay. And I'll just say change name. So what I was trying the other time, so I'm just going to say change name. Okay. So I will come back, I'll come here, and here we use const change name. So yes, 6. Okay. Put this guy, put this. All right. So let me just say CLG, and then I say button was clicked. All right. So let's see if that works. I'm clearing this. I click on this. So it tells me button was clicked. Tells me button was clicked. So this on click is calling this function. If I hover on it, yeah, it returns void and all of that. So it's calling this function. Now, if I want to update this value here, I will go and expressly use set text, which is, yeah, it's a function. Remember I said it's a function. And then you're going to now put whatever value. So I will just say Lulu. So if I clear this, let me just clear this, come here, I click on this. So you see automatically it updates Hulu. If I click again, it doesn't go back. Okay, so we can play around with this. So what me I'm trying what I want you to understand now is it's possible for you to update your state by passing, yeah, calling a function on a button, and then when you click on it, you call this other guy here. So this guy works on this guy. It changes it from the default value into whatever, whatever you pass inside here. Oh, I can actually do this. Yeah, but how? Let me not use objects. I can actually put one inside here. And because JavaScript is JavaScript, if I click, changes to 1. So you need to know what you're passing back inside here. That is the way it goes. So if I do, I get to. What if I want to do a toggle? So let me just say if you can use an if state here. So you say if text is equals to, I'll just say Tolu. Then you want to say, you want to change it, you want to do this. And I will just bring back everyone. Okay, so let's try this out. So I click everyone. I click, it brings back Tolu. I click everyone. So I'm doing a toggle. and I'm able to switch between, yeah, between Tolu and this happens when you're working with a string, when you're working with a string. Okay. So what about if you're not using a string? What if you're not using a string? How do you work with use states? So let's say, for instance, so this is set text. Fine. It's all good. It's all good. This is all fine and good. But then, okay. So let's play around with this books stuff here. So what if we have an array? What if we want to use an array? Const, and I'll just say books. So note that this thing is going to affect what we've already done so far. So books, and remember the convention. What am I supposed to use here?
Set book.
Okay, so set books. Okay, and then I still have to call my use states and pass in. So what am I passing inside here? Now, we already have this array coming from here, books. And because of this guy, I think if I save this, we'll have a problem. If I save this, wow, our books is Otilo. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have that. We don't have our books is broken because, well, we have a state with books, and then we have this.
You mean
Now,
our
so
book?
if I,
Why are we not
sorry,
passing that?
okay, okay. So so allow me to land. Okay, so what happens here is we need to bring in the books. Interesting. Okay. Hmm. And no reference books too before initialization. Okay. Okay, so books. Why do we have this issue? Books is declared. Okay, it's a constant. So let me just say let. But should that be an issue? Okay. Okay. So our JavaScript people debug. But first things first, let me just move this. I'll just create a folder, new folder. I'll just call it utils. And inside here, I'll just create a file. I'll just call it data dots. Yes. And I'll just paste this there. So uh, how do they do this? Export. Is it like this? Okay. Export const books. I need to import
Yeah.
this inside here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, from the data. And
You put a brace.
passing this. Okay. Interesting. Okay. What am I missing? Busy because it has the same name or what? Okay. So let me just rename this. So it's like there's a conflict of name, my books. Okay, so back inside here, I'm changing this, and I am also calling this. So the name issue. So that means even if we had used it inside here, the name has to be different. Just did now. So I took the books inside, I put it inside a utils folder because I am this is an external data that I'm using on my page. So I don't want like a whole lot of things on my app. So that's why I'm separating like concerns. So this is coming out, it's coming from somewhere, and I am exporting this. So I export this, I'm able to use it, I'm able to import it here, and I'm able to use it inside my states. Now, if I change this into an empty array, my dear friends on the internet, you would not see anything on this page. You won't see anything in the array. So you initialize it. So you understand that that is not even coming from, it's not coming from my books. If I want this my books to display on this page, probably what I could just do is I'll now have to change this guy, and automatically this comes up. But I want to use my state instead. So that's why I am using this states, and I am setting this to my books. Do we understand? We get what's happening? Are we clear on that? Yeah. Do we understand what I did? Do we understand what I explained? Okay. Okay. So what I'm saying is, but you can see my screen, right? You can see my screen. What I'm saying is that, so I have I had this data. I had my books, but this is like is an object that I created by myself. I have it locally, and I want to use it on my application. Now, instead of me lumping it on my app, the GSX, I decided to now separate, like separate concerns. So anything I'm exporting, let's say for instance, you don't have links. So yeah, sorry, my internet went off. Okay. Yeah, so I was trying to explain. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Ah, gosh. It's raining here, so the internet might be a bit, or it's not even might be, it's already quite messy. So explaining the reason for having this data.js folder or file rather inside my utils. So you see that I have my components, I have a utils that has this data.js. So it's a JS file, and I'm able to export things from here and use wherever I want to use it. So I have already exported this my books. And inside here now, I want to export something else. So I can say maybe like nav links. So inside here, let's say nav links, I have maybe an ID of one. And then after that, I have, let's say maybe the name. So let's say home. And then you can have maybe like the URL. And then you maybe can have like slash home, that kind of stuff. And then you kind of repeat this for like how many links you want to use on your page. So let's say this will now become to just change this to about I can also do same for this one. Let me just say contact. So instead of me repeating this code on my page, and I'll just say contact. I can spell. Okay, so home, about, and this. So these are my nav links. I just need to come to wherever I want to use it, import it the way I did this. So import it. So remember, it's coming from this guy. So you have to destructure it. It's coming from this data file. So utils data. So you have to destructure it. So my books, if I want to get nav links, I have to come here and I just do my nav links here. And I'm able to use it wherever I want to use it. Do we understand this part that I talked about? This part I just talked about now.
Yes, we
All right.
understand.
All right. Yeah. So eventually, so I'm not importing this. Well, if you still want me to show how that works, uh, that's not the concern for now. Eventually, we'll use that because, yeah, let's say you want to do a nav link, you now have to start repeating the same distance. Whereas you can just loop over it and just have your links show up. Beauty of React. All right. So my books. So I'm getting this my books. If I wanted to use it directly without passing it through a state, I won't use this use states in that I did. I've just come here and just my books.map and then automatically copies of the books based on what is inside my array. Now, but instead I want to use my books here. I want to use my books here. So I am able, so I'm able to like, what am I able to do? Okay, so I'm able to pass in the books here and use this state instead. So I'm using this books and I am working on this guy. So using the books, I'm working on this guy. So this guy actually shows up based on what is inside the book. So we have books.map because it's an array. If I hover on it, you see it's an array of objects. So, but this is passed in from this guy. Now, so we've done this, we've done this, we've done this. Okay, okay. So let's see, what do we want to do here? Okay, so we're able to get this now. So what if, so Let's just have another button here, just below here. And I will just say, okay, I'll just say clear books. So I'll just say clear. So I have a function that I'm calling here. So I just also need to call it here. Clear books equals this, pass my what? Set books. So because I want to clear the book entirely, I just do this. So I set it to an empty array. So I'm coming back. I will show you a different approach. So let me see. So we have clear books here. Let me just clear this. So if I do this, see my books has been cleared completely. So the books have been cleared completely. Now, so that is, let me just reload and bring back my book. So yeah, so you can actually do that. You can do that. So automatically this clears it and brings it back to this. Now, so I think I'm going very far. Why do I have to do this? I can do this in line actually. And I'll just say, instead of calling this clear books, I'll just put this, I'll just do an arrow function side here, and I'll just say set books, and automatically I set it to an empty array here. So let's see again. Okay, clear this guy. I click on this, automatically I get the same result. Interesting. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so that is that. That is that. But then what if we want to clear each book? What if we want to clear each book from here? What do we do? All right, so let's see. Let's see how that works. I am going to go into my book. I will just add a button here. And say on click. Let's say remove book. Now this guy has to take in. I have an ID coming from this. Let's see. So I'm just going to use the ID. So this guy has to take. So I need to also get my ID from here. All right. So okay. So I also need to define my ID here. Prop types number. Okay, just for 6. Think. So, but then we don't have this remove book. So let's see. Remove. So, so normally this we've already broken this down into components. So let's see how we can use the components method to, yeah, do this guy. Hmm. Let me see. All right. So const remove book. So this guy takes the ID. Oh, let me just say book ID. I don't want name to clash. Then I'll just say console.log book ID. So let me just be certain. Just give it a class of btn to btn. Let's try and see what we get. Interesting. Okay, I didn't put any text inside here. Okay. Let's say remove good. Nomenclature, very important. Okay, so let's see. Let this guy remove book. So what is coming here? Click remove book. Okay, so okay, okay. So I think let me do this. I'm trying to get the ID instead of this other guy. So if I click here, I'm getting this ID. And on line 5, okay, so it's because I had the other on click stuff on the div. So that's why it's also giving me. So, but when I click this, you see that I get the ID of this guy. So what I could do is, okay, so I didn't actually think of this in this regard. Um, so I'm trying to filter this book without affecting, without breaking stuff. Hmm.
I don't know, like you did in the last class, but can you use map and inside our map, not say by the particular number, then they remove it, stuff like that.
What we're supposed to filter actually, and that's the thing. We're supposed to filter here. Let's okay, so let's see. Let's see. So let's go inside. So let's go inside here. So I'm just going to pass. I'm going to pass another crazy prop. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to pass another prop, and I will say so I passed in book here, and I was able to get that book. So I'll just say books equals to books. Okay, so let me see if this will work. So I'm passing books here, passing books here. And then I come inside my book. I am supposed to get books. So let me just confirm that this also log books. Okay, okay. An empty this is okay. So let me just see. Prop Interesting. Okay. Wow. Okay. Didn't envisage this. Okay. So let's see. Mm, All right. All right. So let's see. I want to do, okay. Let's see how to work it out. So remove book. If I am able to pass book, or alternatively, book. Okay, let's do this. Hmm, really? Hmm. Okay, okay, okay. Not what I anticipated, or what I anticipated. Okay. So we have book here, and does this work? I don't even know. So that does not work. Probably because I am spreading the book. So let me just go the crude way. Okay. I have this. Okay. I have this. Okay. So I have my books here too. Okay. So I'm passing books inside here, and I am saying that do the trick. So let's see if that works. Anyway, so I'm saying books dot filter. So books dot filter book. Okay, pass the book. So the book, we use something else. So a book. So I don't have clashing name. So a book, and It won't work. Okay, it won't work. Okay. So why would because it's inside this function, right? All right. All right. So interesting. Okay. Okay. They even try. Okay. So let's see if I'm doing this. Okay. 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 Yeah. 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 Thanks for that. Okay. Yeah. You're right. You're actually right. Um. Okay. Yes. You are right. Yeah. You are right. Okay, so I need to pass this function above. I know I've encountered this error. Thank you for just reminding me. All right. So this has to be on the parent level. And so I think I could actually do this. Now, wow. Hey. Okay. So I could actually do the whole filtering here. Um, First things first. Let me just go back and spread back these guys. I think that should still work. Spreading book. Let me be certain that that one works. Okay. Then I don't think I need this anymore. Okay, so this is a single book. So I'm supposed to do what? Books dot filter, and I'll pass a book. Will this work? Okay, book, and so this takes this, and then you're like book dot id not equals to book id. So okay, so I have this, and set books. Hmm. Mhm. Interesting. Okay, so okay, let's see. I hope I'm still on track anyway. So this remove book function now. I also need to pass it. Okay, so how did I? Yeah, I need to pass it as a function here. Okay, Okay, so so I'm supposed to pass. Wait, let me get this straight. How am I supposed to pass? I'm supposed to pass. No, I'm not supposed to pass it. Am I supposed to pass it? Okay. Let me get this. My head is just turning around in multiple places. Okay, what would work here now? Um, okay. Sorry, just give me a moment. Let me just debug this quickly. Um, okay, sorry. Okay, so okay. Okay, I get your point. I get your point. So let me sorry for that break in transmission. Okay, so yeah, that's what I was supposed to do. So I'm supposed to remove book is equals to, yeah, I can just do a whole, I just do this, and I will just call remove book and pass. So I'm just going to pass book dot ID, right? Okay, I'm supposed to pass what something is supposed to be, okay. So I have this remove book, remove this here. So in essence, so I now need to, yeah, this guy has to replace this state. I hope this works. And then inside my book, I will just call remove book. And instead of passing this guy like this, I will just pass remove book. Uh, remove book is what? A function, right? It's prop. Is that what it's supposed to be? Oh. And why is it highlighting this? Okay, no need for the ID. So let me see if this works. Okay. Okay. Okay, so sorry for that break in transmission, Jesus. Yeah, I know I've had that issue. So let me just explain what what I did here. Let me go back and explain. Yeah, thanks, Austin, anyway. Um, so this, yeah, remember I told you that there is this unidirectional flow of data. So you cannot, if you're using view, you can stay inside that component and like shoot back to the to the parent. But in React, you have to go from top to bottom. So it's more like you're using, you have to pass whatever you have to pass the function at the top level and then use it inside the child component. So that was what I did. So I created this my remove book function, and normally you're supposed to filter. So you're using the books, which is coming from your states. Yeah. So you have the books, then you filter it, take a single book, compare the book.id, the one that is not that particular one. Filter gives you a new array. So that's why I call it updated books. And then remember that we are setting states here. We are setting states here. And then we are, yeah, so we set states here. So this automatically will, when it filters, it updates these updated books. And then it also updates the states with the current number of books, excluding that one that you've already filtered out. And because it's a state, that's why if you check now, as I click that one, it goes up. I click the next one, it goes off. I click, like it doesn't bring back the previous state. It doesn't bring back the previous state. It's now filtering and reloading the DOM or something. So it maintains that state. It knows what has gone out and it keeps doing the same and doing the same until you get everything. So down here, so this was the function itself. I now needed to pass this function inside here. So what did I do? So I called the remove book. Remember that we destructured this guy. We destructured the book. So I called this remove book because that is what I want to pass. So remove book. And then I'm doing what I wanted to do inside here. So this is a single book. And I'm saying, okay, for this single book now, when you click on it, you're passing the ID inside here. So carry out this function, but reference this function inside, where is it? Inside this guy. So that's why, remember, this is what I named it. This is what is picking this name. This is the name that it is picking, but this is the function that it is carrying out. So call this guy. So where do I need it? Inside here. So I have the on click, remove book. So it finds this ID, automatically it removes this particular one. I don't know if we understand what I did. Do we understand? Or are we confused? Does anybody have questions? So when you're dealing with yeah, when you're dealing with props, normally if all of this code were on just one page, it wouldn't be an issue because you just do everything there and you just pass and go. But when you're dealing with like props, it now gets tricky. So let me just go over it again. Yeah, so I have, this is the remove book. I want to pass this function. And I think the tricky thing is because we had to spread this guy. Normally, I would have just done book, maybe the structure inside it, and I probably do whatever I wanted to do also. But this is happening at this level. This is happening at this level. So what we needed, so remember we are spreading this guy. So you're also passing this guy as what you've spreaded to. So this remove book, you're passing it inside the book.jsx, this remove book. So remember is the name, you're referencing it with this name. Now that function that you want to carry out, remember that this is a single book. It's not books. It's a single book. So you're able to get this ID and pass it inside here. What this remove book expecting here is the ID. So when you click on it, when you click on that particular book, this ID. So what it does, in essence, what it does is when you click on this button calls this function inside here, calls this remove book function. And then it takes the ID from here. So it takes this ID and then performs the action that you did. So when it filters this, it now updates the state with the new array that you have. I don't know if it's clear now. Is it clear?
Sorry, sir, please go back to where you spread. I think that where that map.
Okay. Yeah. So we spread this guy. Book is an object. So we spread the book. Now, but yeah, this is the only one that we needed to spread. For this other one, now we're just passing it as it is, remove book. And then we are performing that function directly on it. Directly here. This is just that remove book function. Think of it like you have the on click at this point. But you're just referencing this remove book on that because you want it to be that when they click the button, that's when that's when it works. So you're referencing this guy is just pointing to this prop, and the prop is where on this level. So the prop, what is the prop meant to do? The prop is meant to call this remove book function. So it's just reference and reference. So it's referencing this remove book, which is carrying this function. So when I click on this, when I click on the button from inside here, this guy triggers this other guy. So it says, oh, this is called. So what does this remove book have? Oh, I have this function. So this one sends the ID, which is passed from this book. So it sends the ID to this function at the top. Now this function now filters, you now do the whole books. Remember, you have to use your state here. So because this state helps you to manage the distance, manage your information. So these books, and then you filter. Remember, you know how filter works. It now removes that particular one, creates a new array with the ones that are not this ID that is passed inside here. And then you now have to update your states. You need to update your states with this new array that is formed. Yeah. So do we understand this now? Yeah. Look, man, are you clear?
Yes, maybe. Yes, maybe when I practice, be clearer than
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Practice is very important.
oh,
Practice is very important. Wow.
it's clear.
I didn't know that use state will even take this long. I thought we'll enter use effect. But let's go on. So this is when you're dealing with an array. Now, what happens when you're dealing with an object? What happens when you're dealing with an object? So let's see. Hmm. So let's see. I'm going to create another state. Okay, so I'm just going to say const person, and I will do set person. Remember our convention, not the one that will be going in church. That convention is different. So use states, and inside here I pass my object inside here. So I should create an initial state here. So let me just see. What can I do here? I am going to do like, okay, so I have a name, and my name is just going to be Ogochuk's funny name. And let me just say age. And I was given 30. How many years? How old did Austin even say I was? Okay, let
39.
me just put. All right. All right. So age of 39, and then my message. Let me just I have a message, and I'll just be like, oh, can I be can I be 39? Can I be 39 years? Okay, so interesting. Can I be 39 years? All right, so we have this. And yes, I would just like to, what will I want to do? So I'm just going to use paragraphs, and I'll just target each of them. So I'll just do person dot name. I'll just repeat for each of them. Age, and then do person dot, what do they call it? Message, right? Okay, so let's see what this, let me just separate concerns. Let's do AD. So actually the goal of, I think I didn't anticipate the whole props thing. That was why it felt like that. The goal was to actually do everything on this single. So when that came up, that threw me a bit of balance. Yeah, but we solved it. That's the important thing. Mhm. So expect more bugs anyway. So let me just put my button. So I need a button that will help me to change my message. So then that's the basic thing I want to do. Button, and I will just call class of BTN, because that's the only button I can make at this instant. And I want to do an on click. So change message. I'm supposed to also pass this guy here. And I can't spell change. Change message. Capital. All right, so on click. Interesting. Okay. So when we click on this button, we change the message here. How do we do that? So first things first, I need to call this message. Okay. Uh, I put this guy, I do this. Okay. So interestingly, so one way to do this is you just call the set person, and because this is an object, so you want to spread person, and then you want to replace what? The message. Remember that message is inside there. The message, and then you want to be like, well, Austin said so. Hmm. Austin, you go soon blow before everybody. So what am I trying to achieve here? Okay, so I'm missing something, right? Okay, so I have this. I didn't even confirm whether my system was showing. So I have this. Interesting. So I want, when I click on this button, I'm able to change the message. So let's see. Well, Austin said so. So when you're dealing with objects, the guy don't become Agbadev. So when you click on it, yeah, it automatically changes. It changes the message for you. Yeah, you get. That is how it works. So you spread out, you flatten out whatever it is inside there. I think you can even do more. Can you do multiple? Oh, but it's message. Can I do this? And okay, that works. So you just flatten your this you just flatten the person array and then you pass in whatever you want to update inside here. Though most often than none, because of how specific we are saying this is. So this is change message. So it's only message that you're supposed to be updating inside here and not more than that. So if you want it to update more than that, then that means you need to, yeah, you need your function name to tally with whatever you are trying to change. Do we understand? Do we understand this?
And this one is like,
Okay, this one is clear. Okay, okay. So this is state. So how about we create a counter. We create a counter with this. So I'm just going to create another div. Have I heard Malox's voice today? I've not. I don't think I have. Uh, what am I even writing? I'm supposed to write a div here. Okay. 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 Malox is actually not around. Okay. So let's just go on. Um, okay, so inside here, I'm just going to do a H3 and I'll just say I'll just say a regular counter. Okay, so inside here now, let me just create a state. I'll say const, and then I pass in my count, and I'll do a set count. And yeah, I'll do use states. And I'll just start from 0, starting from the bottom. Okay, it's not bottom. Okay, so I will just do a H2 and I am passing. What am I passing here? Count, right? Okay, so let's see. And then I'm also supposed to have like my button. Very important. I'm supposed to have like 3 buttons anyway. Hmm. Okay, so interestingly, let me just do a div here. So bear with me, my CSS is wonky. I hope you do better CSS than I do. Okay, so I'll just say flex class here, flex BTNs. I'll just call this flex BTNs inside my update CSS. Wow. And I just want to do a display of flex. And then I want to do not justify. I just want to give a gap of 10 pixels. I think I'm fine. It will be leaning to one side like Oboroko, but the button, did I save that? I didn't save my app.js. Then why do I have that red? Okay, I've not used set count. All right. All right, so let me just confirm that this is showing. Yeah. Oh, and then it's showing all of this. So, okay, so let me just change this to reduce, increase, use. Oh, for those of us that were in the last lesson, we did something like this, Abi. Reduce, resets.
Increment, decrement.
Yeah, okay, reduce, reset, and okay, decrement. Oh, Turenchi. Increment.
Branching.
But Turenchi, cool. All right, so let's see. So I'm supposed to also change this my own click thingy. Ah, lazy developer. I should have just highlighted 3 of them and just done that. Okay, so I think that is just the best. So I'll just do this, and I want to update my states to have like set counts. Okay, so now let's determine what we want. So if I want to increment, I am increasing what? Count. I'm doing count.
+1.
Yep. Increment. Oh, yeah, that's the increment. If I'm decreasing, I have to do count -1. And then, what of this other one? This what?
Reset.
Count is a constant. Wow. Okay.
Leave it. Think it.
Up a bit.
Think it. Leave
Uh,
it blank.
a blank. Okay. I'll just do 0. So that is it. That is it. Yeah, so let's see how it goes. All these bad guys. And I don't finish React. Can't talk soon. I want to do React again. Okay, so it's all right. It's all right. So let's increment. I'm clearing this, and I am able to do that. So notice something. Each time you increment, just know that your DOM reloads. Each time you increment, your DOM reloads. So that happens. I am able to decrement. I am able to reset, so return it to its normal state. So that's the beauty of, well, that's the beauty of this guy. So I'm able to increase, decrease, and still go negative and do all of that. So well, that is when you're working with, yeah, when you're working with increment and all of that. But then, so that is how this one works. That's how this one works. So, but then we could also have a complex. We could also have a complex counter. So let's try a more complex counter. And so I'll just duplicate this guy. I'll just say complex counter. Well, it still has the counts. I will just need a single button. Okay, so increase later. So that's what I'll just say. So I want to stall it a bit. I want to stall it a bit. So I'm just going to call this complex. I'll just change this function here. Say complex increase. Okay, so I will call this function at the top. I'll soon change my name to function. Okay. Now, the essence, what I am trying to achieve here is set count. So it now becomes count plus 1. So let's see what this actually gives us anyway. Let's see what this gives us. So I want to say it's is updating this based on this other guy. Interesting. Okay, so but what if we want to delay this? We want to delay this guy. We want to delay the complex counter a bit. So we want to use like a set timeout. Okay. And what does this guy take? So it takes an anonymous function. Inside it, pass this, and then you'll have to pass how long you want it to take. So if I say 3,000 milliseconds, I am adjusting this alternate. This is where it's supposed to be. All right. So let's see. Let's see what happens with this guy. Okay. Did you notice what happened? So your state is actually going to update. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to stall it for a bit. So if I click, it's not supposed to increase immediately. It's not supposed to increase immediately. This one will work and automatically is affecting this other one. But then if I click on this, like it delays for 3 milliseconds. I mean, how that what's this? Is this milliseconds? Yeah, milliseconds, yes. So 3,000 milliseconds before it now updates. Yeah. So this is what you can stall your set states a bit using set timeout and all of that. But all you need to do is it still calculates, it still does it the same way, set timeout and fixes that way. I don't know if you understand what I meant here or what I did here.
I understand.
Okay, okay. So I think I thought that we'll be able to do use effects in this class, but then that means it's the next class. So till next week we'll now have to work on use effects, and then we'll see the beauty of use effects. So I don't know if anybody has any questions so far. If anybody have any questions so far, or we're able to understand all of this. Should I still push this to GitHub for you guys?
That's the
Okay.
test. I know in the previous camp, there used to be this revision class, maybe a particular day. Like we all know that we
Oh,
come. I don't know if that.
okay.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. Well, that won't be factored in anyway. We'll have to think about that. Yeah. But it can happen. It can happen, definitely. Why not? So no problem. I'll just update this.
yeah.
Okay. No problem. Yeah. So I'll probably discuss that with that's at the top, and then we'll know what we can do about it. So let me just push this git status. Okay, so I have a new folder, so I need to add that one first. Git add src/utils. How well do you think you know um Git and GitHub? Git status. Has GitHub ever disgraced you before? Git commit dash and I'll just do sure uh update use states. Okay, so git push origin. Man, who has used Rebase here before? Have you used Rebase? Even me, I don't like Rebase. Yeah. So, so that's all right. So if nobody has any question, I think we'll end the class here, and
Yeah,
then
I have a question.
all right.
Okay, but this has nothing to do with use effects or
Okay.
hooks. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I'm currently working on a project and then I actually deployed to Git. Okay, I
Okay.
deployed to sorry Vercel, and then
Okay.
um we actually noticed that after deployment the page I actually worked on, when we tried to like reload that page, it showed 404. Like what it
Okay.
shows, you can actually navigate to another page, but when you try to reload the page, it shows 404. So I actually
Okay.
believe it's a routing issue, but I really don't know how to solve that problem right now.
Okay.
So I
So
don't know if anybody has an idea or
okay. So what I know that problem when you're using Netlify, there is this thing that they normally do. There's a redirect that they normally do. You have to do a redirect for Netlify. Um, but for Vessel, it could also be that it's the same problem. Like you need to create a file inside your React folder, and then what you're trying
yeah,
to do is to make okay, yeah,
yeah, we tried the I tried the redirect yesterday, but it didn't work. That's for Netflix. It didn't work on GitHub. On sorry on myself.
Vessel. Okay, so what is going to happen is probably we'll just brainstorm about it outside here. Yeah, outside here. So I'll just check up think maybe I've run into that kind of issue before, but yeah, let's talk about it outside here. And anybody that has an insight in it, you can also join in and yeah, give your inputs on the channel. At least everybody gets to learn. Okay, is
Alright.
that fine? Yeah. Any other person with question?
I beg you, if you don't mind, sir, sorry, sir, if you don't mind, sir, since I
Mm-hmm.
think can you just go over that book stuff, the other one? Maybe we get
Which
how you before you
which one?
book before you filter those steps you take before you filter. That's why I'm really getting confused. But I understand the filter part. But how
Okay,
you
I'm trying to wrap up because another class will soon start. Okay, so yeah, so what's to filter? So I have a book component. So this book component is a single book. In essence, that means I am passing a book. I am spreading this, since it's an object, I'm spreading the key value pairs and all of that. Then I have this remove book, which I want to pass to the book component itself. Now, instead of me going inside to do the remove book stuff inside it, I just call the function here. I call the remove book function. Remember function, I created it is at the top here. And just do your normal filter and know that you're expecting an ID inside here. Then update it. So you have updated books, is books.filter, and then do all of this. And then you know that you're updating your state with the new array that is formed from filtering. So you're updating your state here. But on this level, what is happening here is that remove book, you're doing remove book, and then you're passing this function inside here. So you have remove book, which is expecting the ID. So this ID is coming from this book itself. So book.id. So you pass it inside here. So when you do that, it knows that, okay, inside here, what am I doing? I just need to reference that book, which is this guy. This one is not even this one. It's this guy that is referencing, because whatever you put here, that is what is going to be looked for inside. That's what you're going to destructure. So it's saying remove book. You're expecting remove book. And then on the handler, on the on-click handler, so you're calling the remove book. So when I click on this button, it just informs, like it passes this guy. So it's saying, where's this remove book? So it goes to this level. Okay, so where is this coming from? Where am I getting this? It goes to this app.jsx. Okay, so this is you. So what am I supposed to do? Okay, I have a function here. This function is calling this remove book, and then is expecting this book.id. So in essence, what am I supposed to do? Okay, so at this point, it's getting this book ID, and then you're filtering the books. So you're doing the books.filter. You're getting a single book. Remember books, you get a book. Then you compare the book.id and remove that particular. So you exclude that particular book based on the ID that you're sending in. So this ID has to be unique. It's not cast on stone. It could be any other thing, depending on whatever is unique. So you're passing it inside. So when it filters, it gives you an updated book. So that is removed. It gives you an updated book. And then you update your states. So set books with this. So that's why, in essence, when we come back here, I am able to click on this book, it goes off. I'm able to click on this one, it goes off, and so on and so forth until everything goes off completely. I don't know if you get that.
yes, yes. I think it's very better now. But just part.
Okay, okay. So I think we'll just stop here so that's, yeah. So next week we'll talk about use effects, and yeah, we'll move on from there to other React hooks, and we'll see how they are applied. So thank you guys for sticking around for everything. Thank you. Thank you for being there during my debugging session. Okay, so I look forward to learning more and yeah, experiencing more in this journey. So have a great day, guys. All right. See ya.